Cole, tell us about your music, because you've got multiple projects going. It seems like.
Yeah, that's what everyone keeps telling me. I think so. I'm currently in Manchester going to college, and I started doing music. 14, 15 years old, give or take.
Yeah.
I had a really, really good friend, one of my best friends in the whole world. Pretty much brought me onto his band and said, "Hey, I'm writing music, and we're in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, and most people don't know what a guitar is, and you know what a guitar is, and I know what a guitar is. So let's record some music."
All about the cadence, by the way.
It's all about. It really is. If there's anything more to that, it's beyond me.
Right.
So all about the cadence, lyrics, words, whatever you call them.
Yes.
So my friend went on to go to school for audio engineering. But before that happened, we basically pulled our finances and bought all the things we would need to actually get some recordings going. So we formed this band called Farewell Reality, and actually managed to record an entire album before we both left for college, which is, looking back, actually really incredible, because we basically hammered the whole thing out in pretty much the period of about 4 weeks or so.
Wow.
It's on Bandcamp, it's on Spotify under Farewell Reality. I think we played like 3 or 4 shows in PA together. Didn't really do much with it, but it was like a really, really cool venture into songwriting with somebody who knew what they were doing. I had a lot of passion for it, but I was pretty much just throwing things at the wall.
Yeah.
And then Vince would kind of take them and he would put them in a nice little organized fashion and say, "This is what you want to give to the world." And I said, "That's exactly it," as opposed to just the splattered on the wall.
Right.
So I got to college, continued to play with some people, and I eventually was looking to do some professional recordings. And I've, if nothing else, am passionate. So I got to the point where I figured might as well try to start finding some places that would be interested in recording me, listening to some of my stuff, giving it a go, and see what they think of it. I submitted a demo to a studio called Plaid Dog Recording in Allston, Massachusetts.
I think I'm not familiar, but I've heard of them. Yeah.
Yeah, really, really cool project. Started by this guy, Mike Davison, and Brian Fenley. Are pretty much the spearheads of it. And their idea was that there's a ton, especially in the Allston area in Boston, with Berkeley so close.
Yeah.
There's all these musicians who, would love to record music and, really just need the money to do it. They're fantastic. I don't believe for a second that you have to be wealthy to make good art. That makes no sense.
Right.
But you do have to have a little bit of extra cash to record stuff. It's really, really expensive. Crazy expensive, actually.
Oh, yeah.
I'm admiring all of your microphones and stuff in the studio and just, sucking my breath because I just see dollar signs. So I submitted a demo and they said, "Listen, we'd love to bring you on." And the way that they run it is they do a crowdfunding deal with it. So basically they said, "We will help you do a crowdfunding essentially project through a website called Indiegogo. You can offer prizes, perks, etc. And then we need to make X amount of dollars in order to record a full album." And I said, "You know what? What else? What do I got to lose? If this is how I get to record music, and if that's what I really want to do with my life, why would I not do that? Because, why not?" So all of last spring, pretty much from March until April-ish or so, we ran a campaign. The campaign was successful. We raised about 83 or 84% of what we were hoping to raise, which was enough to fund the album. So I'm recording songs in their studio and supplementing some of the tracks with songs that are happening, with tracks that are happening at my studio on campus that I'm recording myself with my microphones and such there.
Oh, okay.
So the whole thing will be coming together. I am actually in studio tomorrow at 6 o'clock, finishing up guitar and bass, and then I have one more session to do vocals, and it's pretty much done. The process of mixing and mastering obviously is a process in and of itself. We're looking for some January, February, March-ish winter release dates. But I'm really happy that it's coming together. It's weird to have been talking about it for so long, and so many of the songs that I have written for this project are now things that I've written 2, 3, 4 years ago, and I now have new material that I'm excited to record when this is done. That I want to take in different directions. It's super, super cool to have it finishing up and done.
When you're recording things that you had written several years ago, do they wind up different in some way? I mean, I'm sure they're pretty close to how you originally wrote them or originally played them, but whereas you're recording them later, so much later than when you wrote them, do they kind of do the songs change kind of organically or maybe even intentionally?
Absolutely. So much of I guess my creative process has to do with the people I surround myself with. And so I've been really blessed to have a lot of really good friends, really close people who have been not only influential with playing my music, quote unquote, but being willing to make it their music as well.
Yeah.
And so, when I play with people and they say, "Hey, this is a really cool song. Have you thought about trying this with it?" To me, that's not like an insult of, "Oh, you should change your music as it sounds as good." It's the idea that, hey, this is expanding, this is evolving. My mode of view is always going to be limited by my experiences in life in general, and especially with creativity.
Yeah.
So if you're willing to open that door and let other people take it and see where they go with it, and then willing to add on to that, I think that's really special. As well as will give you, I guess, more of an idea of where you actually want to go with something. Sometimes you're limited by where you think you want to go until someone else shows you another option.
Yeah.
So I have a song called Pew 13 that was the first single we released back in April. I think we put it out March or April. And it's much more of a mellow kind of lo-fi indie vibe.
Yeah.
Ton of fun to make, and then in the process of between fundraising and now getting back in studio, almost all the songs I'd written took much more of a rock turn, and everything just became overdriven and faster. Somehow. Don't know how it happens. So I released, basically a more mellow song, and the whole album was, looking to be more of that style.
Yeah.
And then for whatever reason, just the mindset I was in, the people I was around, things just took much more of a heavy turn. So now the album rather is looking much more like it's going to be rock centered or rock centric, which is exciting. Not something I originally intended when we started.
Yeah.
But cool to be at that point now.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, we actually, and that is one of the songs that you sent me. So why don't we give that a listen?
Yeah, let's go for it.
I've got it here. So this is from. So is this going to be re-released, or is this the version that's officially out?
Yes, so this version is on Spotify, it's on Apple Music, it's on iTunes. I don't know if those are the same thing anymore. Amazon, Bandcamp, etc. Pretty much anywhere you find music. And this will be re-released on the album. This is just a single ahead of it.
I gotcha. Okay. Yeah, so let's give this a listen. So this is Pew 13 by The Crusciel Detail, and we'll play this, and then we'll come back and talk some more. We're here with Cole Crusciel, and Michael Martineau is here with us as well, but this is Cole's song, Pew 13.
Scandinaves with static views. Peace is never just terminal. Loneliness gets so romantic. You only say that for show. We'll kill for oil, yeah, we'll die for your gold. And you'd better do what you're told. Pledge allegiance to the flag and the numbers on the tags. I take pills that I can't pronounce as I recall all of the times I should have died. Life is short, but mine so far is
they're so connected. Churches love people because of who they are. There's no point in trying. But also, I mean, what's life without love? What's life without love? Can't help but feel like there has to be something more than just going in circles, because it really seems like that's all there is. I don't know. Talk more later, I guess. I'll try and call you.
All right, that is Pew 13, the Crucial Detail. Cole Crusciel is here. So what's going on there in the, like, is that from a voicemail or something?
Yeah, the whole chorus is a voicemail that a friend of mine left me. She had left the voicemail itself is not the quote unquote original one. She had left me a voicemail very similar to that months before the song was recorded.
Yeah.
And I was writing the song and I had no real chorus for it. I just knew I kind of wanted to change the chords a little bit, but it didn't really have any like real unifying theme that I felt I could put into lyrics. And I was thinking like, what is really the summation of the song? And to this day, I will say I really don't know still. I think it's still open to interpretation, mine included.
Yeah.
But I remember that, and so I sent her a text, or I called her and I said, hey, do you mind leaving me a voicemail just talking about your views on, X subjects? She said, yeah, why? And I said, well, I want to put it in a song. Can I do that? Are you okay with that? She's like, yeah, no problem. So that's a 2 or 3 minute voicemail. We spliced a couple of parts of it apart, put it back together, and got that. So it's funny because I think I sent it to her and she's like, oh, that's really cool. And I don't think I didn't talk to her for a while after that. And then I think, I don't know, months later, she's like, oh, I just found the song. I'm like, yeah, I sent it to you and it's real now. I don't know. It's kind of funny.
Oh, wow. Well, that's cool. Yeah. Why is it called Pew 13?
Great question. It's funny you mentioned that. My uncle, I was home last, and my uncle said the exact same thing. Like, cornered me, said, why is it called Pew 13? I've been speculating. It's actually based off a song from a band called Built to Spill. Built to Spill is an indie rock band in the 90s or so. Doug Marsh started it. And on the first song of their album, There Is No Enemy, is the song Aisle 13.
Oh, okay.
And half of it is based off of that. It's a callback to that. Built to Spill is an amazing band. You should all listen to them if you have not. But the idea for me was the idea that you're combining two things, a pew being, church, you have the idea that things are holy, things are good. Things, hopefully shouldn't ideally go wrong in a church. But the idea that you're still going to have, a 13th pew, an unlucky pew, if you're just looking at it naturally.
Interesting.
So you can be in the best spot of your life. You can have everything going for you. That's not to say things aren't going to go wrong. You might be in a good spot, but it doesn't necessarily mean everything's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
So to me, I personally view life very optimistically, which could be foolish at times, but I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
So I see no reason to stop.
Yeah.
But even looking at life in the best ways possible, you're still going to hit, your unlucky 13s, Friday the 13th and the such. Things are always going to go wrong somewhere along the line. You have to, be willing to recognize that, and not just pretend the world is perfect.
Right.
But I still think looking through an optimistic lens and taking the best out of things that you can is still, I think, for me at least, is made me the happiest. So that's I guess a bit of the backstory.
Yeah, no, I like it, and and I like what you're saying too about being optimistic, and and there is a difference between that, because some people will hear that and think that's Pollyanna or whatever, but I do think it's the best way to live. Because, being negative or being pessimistic, it really doesn't get you anything. Really,
exactly.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think it's very, very interesting to me that we don't seem, I don't know necessarily if it's like a society or a cultural thing, or maybe it's just the people I hang out with, that it doesn't seem like there's a true understanding of what, I guess, looking through the world optimistically really, really amounts to. I'm a big believer in logic. I'm a big believer in looking at things for what it really is, find the truth of the matter, and go from there.
Yeah.
But I think that being optimistic doesn't mean that you should, look at everything through rose-colored glasses.
Right.
I think it's the ability to say that there is good that can be taken from every situation, and it is our choice if we're going to look for that good or if we're going to look at the bad in the situation.
Yeah.
They're both always available to us.
Right.
We don't have to take the bad. Sometimes it's going to, push into us. I would never tell somebody if a loved one has passed away, oh, just look at the positives. Look, you have,
Right.
more time to spend for yourself. That's terrible, obviously.
Right.
God forbid.
Yeah.
But there is good in every situation, even if that's months after the fact, even if that's in a small tangential thing that's happening at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So for me personally, the fact that it has worked for me, I guess, doesn't necessarily mean everybody should do it. But it does mean that I'm going to keep doing it for as long as it seems to be doing its job. So.
As you should, and doing that too. You attract what you put out there. So if you're a positive person, you'll attract positive people.
I like to think so.
In your life, just as in the inverse, if you're a negative person, you'll attract negative people, and these things tend to feed on themselves. So, what do you attribute that to? That I mean, were you raised by parents who were optimistic people, or just were you raised in a very positive environment?
Yeah, I think I think so. I think looking back on it, it's weird because I think everyone's childhood is this kind of interesting mix between we have a couple of moments that we really remember, and then everything else is just, oh yeah, I guess I was there for 17, 18 years and things happened, and I guess I'm the way I am now because of that.
Yeah.
I was raised in a very like faith-filled household, very like stable household, despite having my own, every family is going to go through their ups and down moments and craziness.
Sure.
But I had a mother and a father who were very, 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 very loving, very, very kind, very, very fair. Gave me a lot of freedom for not just for my age, but just for a person in general.
Yeah.
Because they said, "Listen, we trust you, and if you screw that up, we won't trust you anymore." And I said, "Okay, you trust me. I would like to keep that." And I tried to do that. And I still remember, moments, especially, starting towards like high school, when you start to, I guess, have more concrete memories of things not going so well. Like even little things that looking back, I guess, don't mean as much, like losing a soccer game or, not doing as well at the school show or something. And the response was never this like, my mother would never break down in tears and say, "I'm so sorry for you that happened." She's like, "Well, yeah, that sucks, man. You got to wake up tomorrow and just live the next day as best you can as well."
Yeah.
And that meant a ton, My mom is an independent business owner.
Oh, okay.
She works with Mary Kay selling makeup and such. And for the longest time, it was bewildering to me that's what she chose to do with her life. She was a teacher for a while. She had me and then wanted to stay at home and raise me. So she said, I'm going to choose to find a way I can both raise a kid and still be ambitious and have a business.
Yeah.
And it was so interesting because it wasn't probably until I got to college and out of the house that I really realized how big of a commitment that is and how difficult that is to do.
Yeah.
And the only reason she was able to do it is because she maintained this mentality of, every morning you can look at the bad things or the good things in life. And she just chose to keep looking at the good things. As far as I'm concerned, and, hopefully that is still what she's doing. I believe so based on my interactions with her nowadays.
Yeah.
But I think that carried over to me a lot more than I probably give it credit for even. So yeah, I would attribute at least some of it to my upbringing in rural Pennsylvania.
Well, and for her too, I mean, as an entrepreneur, obviously it's important to be an optimist, right? I mean, it's good to be an optimist regardless, but you can kind of, if you have a job that you go to every day where you're working for somebody else, you can kind of afford to be negative, if it's a steady gig and,
making your money. Yeah,
right.
Totally.
Which is what happens, a lot of people, there's millions of people who do that, and to me, it seems like kind of a waste of one's life if someone just, wakes up every day and goes to a job that they hate, and spends 40 hours a week or whatever doing something they hate, and they're just living for the weekend or whatever, and they fall into that. But to be an entrepreneur, you've really got to be optimistic because, obviously the only way you're going to be successful as an entrepreneur is if, you're optimistic about it and positive about it, and you have that intentionality that you are going to succeed and that you're not going to let anything stop you and prevent you from doing that. So I can see, it makes sense, that she's an entrepreneur, so she's positive, so she raised you to be positive.
Yeah, I think it carries very well. So hopefully it'll continue doing me well in the future. But yeah, I would attribute a lot of it back there.
Oh, hello to Fred Bonig from the Daily Ripple, who's in the Facebook live chat. Now, it's funny, you mentioned Pennsylvania. Fred's from Pennsylvania, Emmaus.
Oh, man, I wish I could tell you I knew where that was, but you could just throw all of New England into Pennsylvania, and man, every part of Pennsylvania is such a unique personality and atmosphere. Hello, Fred from Emmaus. I do not know what part of Pennsylvania you're from. Hopefully it's as good as mine was.
Where in Pennsylvania are you from?
Tiny town called Loretto. We're about an hour and a half, 2 hours to the east of Pittsburgh. So central western.
Yeah, I've been to Du Bois the past 2 years for softball championship. So.
Oh, fantastic. Nice.
Now, that sounds like a small place because I've not heard of that. What is Is that near a major city?
It's probably an hour and a half outside of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Right on 80. Probably 2 hours out. Probably 2 hours out of State College as well. So.
Oh, okay. So you know right where that is, probably. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Now, how is because you came here for college, right? To
Correct,
St. Anselm.
yes.
And what made you want to go to St. Anselm?
Yeah, so I went to a small private Catholic high school when I was in Pennsylvania. We graduated 65, 66, 67, something in that range. And of everybody, there were two of us to go abroad, out of state. For where we were, it was basically abroad.
Right.
But to go out of state, I believe, and if I skewed that number, I'm so sorry, but I believe there were only two of us. One was a foreign exchange student who went to California, and then I am the other person. So flew the coop a full 10 hours northeast.
Right.
Such a big, travel. My mom is originally from San Diego, so we grew up. We took a couple road trips out there. Her parents live in California some of the year, Idaho some of the year. So I was a big traveler growing up and loved it.
Wow.
And my dad, on the other hand, was from a small little town in Pennsylvania. They met in college. So my dad's family all lives within about 10 miles or so of where we live now in Pennsylvania. My mom's family is all over the West Coast. Her grandparents were in Maryland. So she was incentivized to come over for that reason.
Yeah.
And when I was going, looking at colleges, I said, I really would rather not stay in Pennsylvania. I'd rather, kind of get out there and see what else is out there. With nothing against Pennsylvania whatsoever. Absolutely love it there.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't want to go around a place that I've already known. So I know all the West Coast. I know a lot of the Midwest. And the only places that I kind of pinpointed in the United States that I knew that there was no relatives or family members was Minnesota, Wisconsin-ish area, and New England. That was pretty much all. I knew I didn't want to go south because of the heat. I just figured, if I can afford to be picky, I might as well be. And I masochistically like winter much more than summer. So I figured I'd go north. It's my time of year. I'm loving it.
I'm the opposite. I'm a summer guy.
Okay, we can talk about it later. We'll have some words outside, but for now, we'll stay civil, I guess.
Yes.
So when I came, I toured St. Anselm, and as well as St. Michael's, St. Bonaventure's in New York, and a couple other schools in this area.
Yeah.
St. Anselm, the cliche as it is, St. Anselm felt like home and had really good programs and the things I was interested in. I like the small community feel. I really like the monks over at St. Anselm are just super, super cool, down to earth guys.
Yeah.
To me, are very inspiring. I came from an environment where there were Franciscans. So a little bit of a different idea. My dad works out of college as well with Franciscans as opposed to Benedictine monks.
Oh, no kidding.
Mm-hmm. So that is why I came up north, all things considered. And then I'm hoping to stay here after college as well. Exactly where in this area, I don't know. I really do enjoy Manchester, and if I could stay in this general area, I'd love to.
Yeah.
But yes, that's kind of my life up until this point, I guess, in a 10, very, very quick summary.
In a nutshell.
Yeah, exactly.
What is the difference, sort of broadly speaking, between in terms of your interactions with Franciscan monks versus Benedictine monks, would you say?
Yeah, so Franciscan monks tend to be a bit more liberal just in their lifestyle, and in not in a negative way whatsoever. Franciscans don't take a vow of stability, whereas Benedictines take a vow of stability. So stability is saying that I'm going to commit myself to a specific area and spend the rest of my life there, unless extenuating circumstances, kind of allow or force them to move elsewhere. So with Franciscans, they're a bit more mobile. The school my dad works at is called St. Francis, and their sister college is called Steubenville. It's in Ohio.
Yeah.
It's actually a pretty major Catholic university in the United States. And so those monks will occasionally flip-flop from school to school, depending on what they're needed for, I don't exactly know if they can request to be moved, but I'm sure they can pull a couple more strings. So Benedictines have, I think, a bit more of an interest or an investment in the community they're placed in, because it's the idea that once they commit, they know they're not leaving. They wake up every morning and they look out the window and there's the graveyard, and that's where they're going to spend the rest of their days when their life here is done. So for better or for worse, might as well make the best of where we are, because we're going to be here forever and ever.
Wow.
So because of that, I think Benedictines seem to be a bit more interested in their community, whereas Franciscans, I think, are much more open to moving and being a part of different communities, whereas Benedictines seem very, very centered on the community that they're actively a part of.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. So Fred clarifies in the Facebook live chat, and I knew this and I forgot it. Emmaus is near Allentown.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Allentown, as immortalized in the famous Billy Joel song. And Amy Hazard King joins us also in the Facebook live chat. She says, "Good afternoon, everyone." So how does New Hampshire differ from Pennsylvania?
Yeah, so I think most people would answer that question very politically. You'd say that Pennsylvania tends to be very Democratic and liberal on your east and western sides. Philadelphia and Pittsburgh kind of holding down the Democratic majority, and everywhere else tends to swing more Republican. And New Hampshire seems to be a bit more of a mix where you can go almost anywhere. I feel. I guess up north would be a bit different, but it seems like anywhere is much more of a mix, and especially with Massachusetts, being pretty close to the south, that kind of bleeds over into it. But I really don't see a political difference. I've always been interested in politics in the application of things, but I'm more interested in specific matters such as ethics and how that plays out in politics. I'm a philosophy major, and I try to pull things as look at things as ethically as I can in my classes, and pull those kind of ideas out. Because to me, if you're going to be educated in something and there's no real world application, it seems kind of weird to me to spend a lot of time and money on it. So when I'm studying philosophy, it's trust me, it's really cool stuff. But sometimes I have to take a step back and say, it's okay if it's cool, but you have to be willing to say, okay, how am I going to affect the people around me? How am I going to change my own life? How am I going to change the community? And so for me, ethics in terms of the things I could be studying in philosophy, such as ontology, epistemology, etc., is the most striking to me because it's something you can actually, enact in your life and in the community and with the people around you. And the difference between Pennsylvania and New Hampshire, I think, on a surface level, is they're very, very similar. There's, I think, a bit more of state pride in Pennsylvania. That not that there is not New Hampshire, but it's a different feeling. It's a different feeling of a unity that everybody is kind of stemming from the same sort of lifestyle.
Interesting.
Whereas New Hampshire seems to be a bit more unified over the idea that people are coming from different lifestyles and experiences. And especially, again, with Boston so close and you have an ocean so close. There's also much more of, I would say, like an art scene and a young person kind of feel in New Hampshire. My area of Pennsylvania is very rural, and it's the idea that your family was born there, and their family was born there, and their family was born there, and so this is the only world you know. Right. And so frankly, that there's a comfort in that, and there's something I really like about that. But New Hampshire seems to be a bit more of people can use it as a springboard. People can, quote unquote, get out of town and then come back later, and it's still going to be good old New Hampshire. So I hesitate to say that there's a drastic difference, but there's enough of one that for me it's noticeable. No, that's interesting. This is a much more politically, it's pretty diverse here, but it hasn't always been. Like when I was a kid, or growing up, it was very very conservative here. And it's really changed, and a lot of it, I think, has to do with Massachusetts being right to the south. Massachusetts, obviously, a very liberal state, and over the years, a lot of folks have moved up here from there, which some people resent, which is kind of funny, but but we've really kind of assimilated into the rest of the Northeast in that way, because the Northeast, obviously, it's on an electoral map, it's blue, and we've kind of assimilated into that, but New Hampshire was kind of the last bastion of a certain conservatism that doesn't largely exist here anymore, if that makes sense. Which I guess is really just a roundabout way of saying we used to be a much more conservative state, but now it's much more diverse. And even with within our Republican Party here, there's a large libertarian wing of Republicans, libertarianism, of course, has a lot in common with conservatism, but it has some things in common with liberalism too, which is why, for example, despite having very often a Republican-controlled legislature, we were able to, we got same-sex marriage here before the Supreme Court, made their decision. And that probably wouldn't have happened had it not been for the libertarian influence within the Republican Party here. So it's very diverse. And also too, while we were playing that Pew 13 song, you were commenting too about how New Hampshire, one of the interesting things about it is how a guy like Nobody, who called earlier,
can run for governor here, run in a Republican primary challenging our incumbent governor, even though, like you said, he must know he doesn't have much of a shot. But there is something sort of uniquely New Hampshire about that.
Absolutely. I mean, it's live free or die, right? Is that's what everyone is shouting from the rooftops?
Yes, yes. Despite cannabis still technically being illegal here, yes. We got decrim, but yes. And we have it's either the third or it depends who you ask. Our state legislature here is either the third or fourth largest democratically elected legislative body in the world. So people and a lot of people don't think that's necessarily a great thing, but that's kind of a separate discussion. But people can really, if people want to get involved in politics at a ground level, there really is an opportunity to do that here. But we have a call. We'll grab this. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hi, Matt. This is Philip Trigoni from St. Anselm College.
Hello, Philip. How are you, sir? Welcome.
I'm doing pretty well.
Oh, you still there, Philip?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, I think we just lost you there for a second. Good. What's on your mind?
Well, there's obviously a lot going on right now. I just got done once again refreshing my Twitter feed, reading all about the different opinions people have on the impeachment inquiry and the Democratic debate last night. Seems no one can really agree on the facts anymore.
I would say that's true. Well, I mean, there's a lot of polarization. By the way, I have to confess, I did miss the Democratic debate. Whoops. I actually didn't mean to hit that air horn. I did miss the Democratic debate last night. I try to watch all the debates, but I'm going to have to watch that one either tonight or sometime this weekend because I was exhausted from watching all the hearings that I just wasn't up for the debate. I fell asleep.
Oh, I don't blame you.
I decided to lay my head down to take a nap, and I did not wake back up in time.
Yeah, that's completely understandable. You didn't miss too much. No big moments like Kamala's in the first debate or anything like that. Just a couple discussions about some racial issues, and climate change was a big topic of the night, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay. They've been. I'm surprised they got into climate change much. They've kind of been avoiding that. Well, you know what I've noticed with the Democratic debates? It seems like they've been avoiding, because I've seen all the others. Like they've been avoiding certain topics that they know, which upsets some people, but I kind of get it pragmatically. Of avoiding certain topics where they know everyone's just going to kind of agree in principle, so there isn't much to actually debate. Whereas something like healthcare, there's a lot of disagreement among the Democratic candidates, in terms of should we do Medicare for all? Should we do Medicare for all who want it, which I think is Buttigieg's thing, et cetera. So it's interesting that they got into climate change. I mean, some of them, like Biden, up to now, hasn't really had much to say about climate change. He speaks in very vague platitudes, and others have more specific things. But no, I am going to go back and watch it, though. This one was only 2 hours, I think, right?
Yeah, luckily, yes. It wasn't another 3-hour slog.
Yeah, that's good. And, I'm an independent because at the end of the day, I really have a hard time believing in any of these people on either side. But I do love the debates. I do so, but especially when, exciting things do happen. Honestly, I'm looking for blood when I watch a debate, to be honest with you. Rhetorically, of course. I'm not pro-violence. But I'm looking for I'm looking for blood.
Yeah, well, you got a little bit of fireworks at the very end of the debate between Tulsi Gabbard and Mayor Pete over foreign policy. So that was an interesting moment there.
Ooh, I do like Tulsi.
Yeah, she got him on something he said about like cooperation with Mexico and trying to fight the cartels, and they got into it a little bit on that one. I was thinking it was interesting because I heard a lot of talk about, because Mayor Pete's obviously on the rise in the Iowa polls, and then also, he might be on the rise in New Hampshire too. That remains to be seen. But, a lot of people were talking about how, maybe they expected him to, be on the defensive a lot last night. But overall, the large avoidance of conflict of any kind.
Yeah, I know that I saw something earlier on one of the sites about how Mayor Pete surprisingly got a pass last night. So, well, we'll see.
I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Now, do you know? So you go to San
I'll be honest. I'm a Mayor Pete supporter myself, so
yeah.
I was kind of glad that he was able to hold his own because I would like him to keep up the momentum. But I do like the other candidates. I don't have too much of a disagreement with a lot of them, but yeah.
Yeah. Now, you go to St. Anselm? So are you friends with our friend Cole here?
I am indeed.
Friends is a
Cole
strong
actually
term, Phil.
was our associate
Friends is a
director
strong
for the fall show here at St. A's. He's a very, very talented man. You're lucky to have him there.
Oh, very good, very good. Now he seems a little hesitant. What's the issue, Cole? Are you more like frenemies or something?
No, Phil. I've worked with Phil. Gosh, we've done 3-4 shows now, Phil. We were actually in a show together.
Oh, okay.
I did a musical,
something like that.
Yeah, so yeah, it was a show. Yeah, we did that. We did a musical together. We did 2 straight shows. Phil just came off of a fantastic job playing Joe Keller in All My Sons, a fantastic piece by Arthur Miller.
Oh, no kidding. Oh.
Yeah, so no, Phil, I'm glad to hear your soothing voice over the air.
His dulcet tones.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you very much.
Phil, I have a question for you. As someone who is not a politics guy and would consider myself more of someone who works logically and ethically and tries to apply that to politics when I can, and you being more of a politics person, I have a logistics question. If I'm the Democratic Party, and I don't want Donald Trump to get a second term in office, which I'm assuming every Democrat would probably agree with that on this, at this point.
Yes.
Can you explain what you would hypothesize the rationale is of sending up? How many candidates are up in the running right now for the Democrats? We have 7, 8 legitimate competitors. 18 total, and then you have Warren Biden, Buttigieg,
I don't know,
Yang,
about 4 or 5 people who could.
Exactly, and I understand that at this point in the process, a lot of that is the weeding out process and trying to limit your contestants, if you will, if we can use trivial terms. What do you think, though, after realistically the embarrassment of losing the 2016 election? What is the reason that the Democrats are not able to just organize and agree? Listen, we're going to find one candidate, not go through all of this bickering of inter-party fighting on who we should elect, or should rather, give the nominee to, and not have all this extra time to kind of gain momentum under one candidate, and then they can start to try to reach out across the aisle and pull in people who might be on the line between supporting Republican versus Democrat. Because it seems to me that so much momentum last year was lost because you had Sanders and Clinton going back and forth. And if you would have given Clinton the nod earlier on, that would have made for a better situation.
It's a great question.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that goes into that because 2016 was such a unique election.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump won by it was a squeaker. I mean, he won just a couple thousand votes extra in a couple of Rust Belt states that got him the Electoral College victory. I was just tweeting about this the other day, Leo. What's the proper strategy for who Democrats should try to bring off the bench to get them that extra boost next November? There's kind of 3 routes you go with that, in my opinion. You either get the Obama-Trump voter, the Republican moderate in the suburbs that went very Democratic last November in the midterm elections, or you get people who don't normally vote off the bench to vote for your candidate. Now, that's a more risky one because who you're bringing off the bench, you don't know if they're actually going to support you. But I see the Democrats as not really agreeing on what the strategy should be. You have someone like Joe Biden who's obviously going for more the Obama-Trump route, maybe the moderate, Republican in the suburbs route.
Yeah.
Or you have Bernie Sanders who's going, I'm just going to get high youth turnout and high, turnout from people who don't normally vote. Because you got to remember, about half the country didn't vote last time around.
Right.
So that's a big well of people. But, who knows who they would necessarily vote for. So, that's a big question. But I think one thing that gets lost in the weeds when talking about Sanders and Warren is that last year when the Democrats took back the House, they took it back with candidates who didn't run on Medicare for all. 39 out of 40 of the seats that flipped blue were by candidates who did not support Medicare for all, who supported a public option or an expansion to Obamacare. So
good
I think
point.
there's something to be said about moderates in the upcoming election. That's part of the reason I'm a Mayor Pete guy myself. I think his solutions are kind of the better ones for the Democratic Party going forward.
Yeah, no, he's a much more moderate guy. I mean, how are you? Are you an optimist? Obviously you're supporting. I assume you're going to support whoever the Democratic nominee is. I mean, are you? Because I actually think that Trump, in spite of everything, and it's astonishing, but I think he has an excellent chance of re-election because I can see the almost identical scenario playing out again, where he loses the popular vote again, probably by a larger margin, but all he's got to do is carry all the same states, and the love and devotion of the Republican Party to this man who, I mean, he can do no wrong in their eyes.
Absolutely.
There's polling data that shows it. And, Philip, the example that I always use of this is you look at what's happened to the farmers. They're being decimated. The agriculture sector in this country is being decimated. Farming bankruptcies are at record highs. And these are Trump voters, right? And there's polling data that shows that these people who are having their livelihoods ruined by Trump's trade war, they're willing to blame anyone but Trump. They still support Trump. It's like, nope, we can't blame Daddy. Can't possibly be his fault. They have had their lives ruined by this trade war, but nope, they're still going to vote for Trump. And I don't know. How do you, I mean, I'm in my 40s, so I've been around a while. I've never seen anything like this in terms of, I mean, it's like a cult. It's like there's nothing he can do that will upset these people or turn them away. And I don't know how you beat somebody like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that I'm sure the DNC is behind the scenes right now, 24/7 trying to strategize. And it's true that the Republican Party, I mean, you see these polls, it's like about 90+% of Republican voters are in support of Donald Trump, which is kind of fascinating because he only won the 2016 primary with like 40% of the vote and even less in a lot of states. So, it's pretty impressive how he's been able to galvanize the whole Republican base behind him. And you're right, it is counter to what you think of with like farmers and the trade war, and it's not exactly what you'd expect, especially thinking about how George W. Bush wasn't able to hold that kind of power. He left office with like a 20% approval rating.
Right.
With Donald Trump, he is the current face. He's the current leader of the Republican Party. He has that energy behind him. The entire establishment of the Republican Party is behind him.
It's his party now.
The Republican Party has an electoral college advantage, and it will be a pretty tough challenge, even after for the Democrats to beat him, I should say, because even after last year's midterms, which was, the Democrats mopped the floor with Republicans across the country. Once you get a national candidate, though, that margin is going to really decrease, and how much, the Democrats could win by about 5 points nationally and still lose the electoral college.
Yep.
So that's a real risk that the DNC is running. So that's why hopefully this primary, despite the plethora of candidates and the intra-party infighting, by the time the convention rolls around in July, they've kind of figured out what direction they want to go and use those remaining months before the election to galvanize the whole base behind one person.
Do you agree? And this kind of goes to what Cole was saying about how, last time you had Hillary versus Bernie, and, it would have been nice if Hillary had had more time to kind of build up that support and momentum. Do you agree that, I don't necessarily think this, but I know some people do, that Bernie staying in as long as he did actually damaged, essentially Hillary was so damaged by the time she was the nominee that harmed her in the general election, and that maybe some Democrats stayed home because they felt betrayed by the DNC because Bernie was. I mean, you look at what happened in New Hampshire. I believe it was a statistical tie between Hillary and Bernie. Or no, actually, I think Bernie won the New Hampshire primary, but then
Well,
they
Bernie destroyed her in New Hampshire.
That's right, but then
it was in Iowa. I think you're thinking of, because she
Oh,
only
okay.
won by about like half a percentage point in Iowa.
That's right, but they both walked out of New Hampshire with the equal number of delegates. So
the dreaded super delegates. That's what that big thing was.
So the fix was in pretty early and continued unabated. I mean, do you think that is part of what caused the general election result that we got?
I wouldn't doubt it at all. I mean, overall, nationally, I think it's kind of a myth that Bernie cost her a lot. She did win the popular vote, and there's been some studies since then that showed that less people switched from Bernie to Trump than 8 years prior. Clinton voters switching to vote for McCain, and Obama still won handily in that election. So I think overall, it's not the biggest factor, but maybe in some of the swing states, some of the Rust Belt states, that could easily have been a concern. And that's the thing with presidential elections; it's so hard to really pinpoint what was the reason. What was the reason that this close election went one way or the other? Because it could be 1,000 different tiny cuts contributing to the whole death.
Yeah.
So I think Bernie Sanders, maybe he did have a part in it, but I think that overall, I can't say that damaged her much more than any other one of the 1,000 other things.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah. All right, Philip. Well, thank you so much for the call. And did you want to plug? You guys have another show coming up that you're working on together? The two of you?
I don't know, Phil. That may have been our last one. That's kind of sad. No, we have.
That is sad, Cole.
Yeah. Sad. Wow. I can't believe we're having this revelation over the radio. We should be in each other's presence and weeping together.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No. So we both. Please go.
One thing I have to say is I'm a student embedded journalist on NECN show Primary Source every now and then. So
cool.
Maybe tune in either this Friday. I might be on. So just might plug that there.
Oh, very good, very good. And Phil, you're welcome to. It's wonderful to make your acquaintance over the air, and you're welcome to call this program anytime. We're here weekdays 4 to 6, or contact me online. Maybe we could even have you in studio, since you're obviously very politically cognizant and so forth. So we've enjoyed talking with you today.
Well, I would love that. Thank you so much for talking to me.
Oh, you got it, brother. All right. Take care.
Have a good one.
Thanks.
Have a great one, Phil.
Bye-bye. All right. Very nice. And while Phil was on the phone with us, we have, let's see, Brandon... Is it Flaherty? Is that how you say that? Flaherty?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay. He says, hey, Cole, query for you. You're a philosopher. What are your thoughts on, so I'm never sure how to say this, solipsism? Solipsism. Sorry, yeah. I kind of get a little dyslexic on that word.
No worries. Brendan, excellent query. Excellent query. So solipsism, in case you don't know, is essentially it's a philosophy that says that the entire world and the entire universe and everything in existence stems from one source, and that is your own mind. So if I were a solipsist, I would believe that you, sitting right in front of me, and everyone else in studio and this microphone and everyone listening to me are just figments of my imagination, that they do not exist. And I am essentially the primary being in existence, and all other beings are just a part of me in a subservient fashion. So those things might come into my existence and try to do things to me, and I can do things to them. But at the end of the day, they're just in my head, and so I really have no moral responsibility to them. I can do whatever I would like to them. I can behave in any way, shape, or form that I would like, and there is no bounds to punish me morally for that, because everything is just me.
Right.
I am the bricks on the wall. I am my own body. I am my mind. And on one hand, that sounds absurd, of course. If I'm very certain that if I threw something to you right now, you'd probably not like that and not just say, well, I'm just part of Cole's mind, so he can treat me as he wants. But if you think about it, it's a bit of a fascinating question because it's very hard to disprove. Prove right now to me that you're not just a figment of my imagination, and I'll try to prove that I'm not just a figment of yours. You can go back and forth. There's really no basis.
That's true.
For anything that says contrary. We're all confined to our own existence. I can't see what you're seeing or experience the feelings you're feeling.
Right.
And so it brings up almost an ethical question. If someone is a solipsist, if you genuinely believe that, I am nothing but you're a figment of your imagination, and you owe me no moral respect or that sort of thing, how do I go about trying to say, Matt, hey, you really shouldn't do that because I am a person,
right?
If I can't ever prove that. So I don't know. I think it's an interesting kind of school of thought.
Right. Yes. No, that is. And you all right, Darryl? Darryl Dion is here. Are you really here, Darryl? That's the question.
Good evening. What's the question?
Oh, never mind. We've moved on. This is Cole Crusciel.
Hi, Cole.
Darryl, very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And I believe you know Michael Martineau. He's the best newsman in the business. Yeah. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Hello to Mike Laughlin, who joins us in the Facebook live chat. And Brandon is really enjoying Brendan, rather, is really enjoying the discussion.
You can call him Brandon. That's fine.
Brandon
is fine.
Yes. Well, the two are so easily interchangeable.
They really are. And I mean, he's just a figment of my imagination anyway. So
he probably is.
I get to decide what to call him anyway.
Yes.
So,
Do you think it's possible that President Trump is a figment of our collective imaginations, if there is such a thing?
That would almost be better.
I
think.
Like sort of almost like a global acid trip that we've all somehow ended up on together, if
I
that's
think
possible.
That's more or less accurate, actually.
Do you? Yes.
Yeah, I really do.
I mean, it's as reasonable as an explanation as any.
Yeah, I agree. No, absolutely. Have you ever shook his hand? Have you ever seen him in person?
I have seen him in person. Yes.
Have you touched him? Have you felt that he is a physical, real being? I have not. I'm someone who just vies for logic, and I have no real proof. Internet makes up some wacky things.
That is true. Yes. So this could be him calling. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hey, Matt. This is Brendan Flaherty.
Hey.
Calling in. I just got off the Facebook Live group chat here. Cole, you can't call me Brandon. I'm just saying that. No, I'm kidding. Cole and I are roommates. So.
Oh, okay. I suspected the two of you know each other.
Yeah. Super fun. It's great. I'm not as articulate as Phil. I really just came to talk about Great Grandpa. That was pretty fun. How we got them to kind of drop their album just before everyone else got to hear it. Cole, do you want to tell the listeners a little bit about how that happened?
Yeah, so this is a plug for an indie band that is out of Seattle, Washington, a band called Great Grandpa. Just recently released an album on October 25th. It's called Four of Arrows. If anyone here is into rock music or indie rock music, definitely check it out. But essentially, being that we live in a world of social media, I figured I would just reach out to them on Instagram and say, hey, your album comes out in a week, but I want to listen to it right now. How can I do that? And I offered two things. Specifically, I said, I will make you dinner. If you come over, I will make you dinner if you give me your album already. And I said, if you need a kidney, I have two of them, so I will give you a kidney. And the conversation devolved into my offering to mail them a kidney for them to eat, which is, I was not expecting that. I don't know if they expected to make that offer.
Right.
But Brendan and myself and our other roommates then took a couple pictures of me on a table looking as if I was about to go under the knife. And then we took a piece of frozen chicken and put it in a bag of ice and put some salsa inside, shook it up and took a picture of it and told them that it was my kidney and that we'd be sending it to them. Believe it or not, after about 5 minutes of no response, they sent us a link to their album and said, please do not leak this. We are trusting you with it. So we listened to that album a week before anybody else. It's actually up for Album of the Year right now.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, which is a huge honor, and they absolutely deserve it. So check out Great Grandpa. If you get in touch with them on social media, tell them that you will send them an organ of their choosing, and you will probably get to listen to new music. Don't say I sent you, because they might get mad that they're getting random body parts mailed to them.
Oh, that's brilliant. I love everything about that. That's great. Wow. All right. Brendan, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. All right. So there you go. That's the...
I don't know what else to talk about, really. I just called in. This is pretty cool, Cole. Super cool opportunity for you. Hopefully you'll stick around Manchester. You always have a home at my place in Nashua until you get your own apartment. So,
Well, thank you so much. You're so kind.
Oh, you're so welcome.
You never say these nice things to me when I'm cooking you dinner or doing your dishes or anything, man.
No, absolutely not.
No,
Why
of
would I
course.
do that?
All right.
All right. Thanks for taking the call. This is great.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime. All right. Thank you so much, Brandon.
Yeah.
Or Brendan. Sorry. Bye.
Have a great one.
Is it? It is. I'm looking at. Okay, it is Brendan. Okay, I
Yes.
do try to be accurate with
Give
names.
him some due respect, just
Oh,
a little bit.
Cole, if you don't mind, just pulling over your just so that's Ben Dion. I don't know if he's. Are you coming? Are you joining us or? Okay, looks like you're. What it was? Is it? Are you the one who set up the mics?
I think Peter did.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, I assume that was for Granite State of Mind tomorrow night. Unless you guys have a band. You guys have a band coming in tomorrow?
We have a musical guest on tonight.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
So these mics are for the guests.
Yeah.
So your father is misinformed.
He doesn't know what's going on.
You should do a better job of, or maybe not. I don't know.
He just shows. I just pick him up when we come here. And then,
I got tire marks all over my body. just so
Wow,
you know.
wow. That TMI. We don't need to know that. But my goodness. So Ben, so this is Cole.
Ben, very nice
Cole,
to meet
this
you.
is Ben, host of the weekly Dion.
Fantastic.
And his father Darryl is the co-host. So that's the show that's on after this program. So who's the band who's coming in?
so we were gonna have Amanda McCarthy.
Yeah.
And actually, Easy G was right. He called in and was like, "Hey, I think I don't know if he called into this show or to my show, but he was like, I think she's in California still."
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. She had a award show last night.
And it's funny because after he said that, I think the day after, she might have, I think it was the day after the show, she messaged me and said, "Hey, I completely messed up my schedule. I'm going to be in California."
Oh.
But she was good enough to get me another guest to come on this week. Nick Ferrero, who's one of the band members of the Grenadiers.
Yep, I used to play in a band with Nick. I don't
cool.
know if you knew that. Yeah,
I did not know.
Yeah,
So cool.
Yeah, we were in a band called Shadow Sanctuary together.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he's coming on tonight.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Well, we should before we run out of time, I want to get in another song, Cole. We should play this track, Airport Bathroom.
Yeah,
I really like this a lot.
Thank you so much.
Especially since Ben's mentioning about Amanda traveling reminded me of that.
Fantastic.
What do you before we'll play this? What do you want to tell us about it before we hear it?
Yeah, so this I don't really have a usual songwriting style. I just kind of go with whatever hits me. And my mom told me this story about when my aunt was born. They were flying from California to Maryland to have her baptized. And my grandmother decided that in the bathroom of the airport, she got nervous that what happens if the plane goes down? And if the plane goes down and we don't make it to the baptism. And so she took my aunt, my baby aunt, to the bathroom and put a little bit of water in her hands and said, "I baptize you in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit," which, if you're a Catholic, that officiates a baptism. If anybody with intention says those words and uses water, you have officially baptized somebody. They fly across the entire nation, and right before the ceremony, the priest says, "We're just to confirm, you haven't baptized this child, have you?" And she says, "Well, I haven't really baptized her, but just in case something would have happened, I did this thing in the bathroom." He said, well, what did you do?" And she said, "Well, I did these things." He's like, "Well, this child is already baptized, and I can do nothing for you." They had a ceremony, but they did not actually baptize my aunt again. Now that story is fantastic, but I was told this by my mother when I was a kid. And I wrote this song, and my mother said, "What is this about?" And I said the exact same thing. My mother said, "Oh, I love that story." And then my grandmother, when my mom told my grandmother said, "You know what? I don't know where you heard that, but I didn't do that." So apparently,
Really?
somewhere along the line, some detail got skewed where my aunt may or may not have been baptized in a bathroom at an airport. She may or may not have been baptized at all at this point. The details are skewed, but that's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
That's great.
And that is why I wrote the song.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love it. All right, so let's give this a listen. This is Cole Crusciel as the Crucial Detail. This is Airport Bathroom.
My socks are fuzzy and on fire. I'd really like to take them off my feet. Your tired breathing keeps me focused as I try to be discreet. The Boston sunshine is deceiving. The wind chill makes its presence known. I could have stayed in California, but I don't like it on my own. Sometimes my dreams appear in color, sometimes my days are black and white. I'd rather not go to the party, that's where you'll be had tonight. I like to think of God as smiling, I've always been a raving optimist. I do what I can to keep things steady, and I just hope he gets the gist. So I'll take my time, watch them all skip line, and I'm coming clean, slower than it seems. Been my downfall. The weather keeps me tucked in bed. I've got to wake up to start dreaming. When you left, that's what you said. In San Diego, time was random. The sun was out for every day, but nothing can stay the same forever. You proved that when you went back east to find yourself a playwright for your problems and a nurse for all your thoughts. Some days I still think about you, some days I sit and think a lot. Your sister was baptized at an airport, your mother, she did it in the sink. That's why traveling feels holy, at least that's what I've come to think. So I'll take my time, watch them all skip line, but I'm coming clean, just slower than it seems.
That is great. Airport Bathroom from the Crusciel detail.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
Cole
you.
is here with us. Cole Crusciel. So, how did I'm trying to remember how I said your name before. I think I said Crusciel. Yeah, Crusciel.
Almost sounds cooler. I don't know. You can keep running with that as long as you'd like.
It sounds exotic, Crusciel.
A little
It sounds
French twist.
Yes, exactly. Well, we should Cole, let's make sure that everyone knows how to find your music online and so forth.
I would love that. So you can search the Crusciel Detail on any of your whatever search engine you prefer. It should take you. I have accounts on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon Music, anywhere you like music. There's an awesome website called Bandcamp. I don't know if you've heard of it. Bandcamp, you can search the Crusciel Detail. I'm on there as well. So everything is up and running. I have a YouTube channel as well. So the Crusciel Detail, search on pretty much wherever you find music will lead you directly to me, whether you like it or not.
Excellent. And are you playing out at all? Are you doing any shows? Or
Yeah, so right now I'm finishing up, again, the album is going to be done, theoretically, again, I go and record guitar and bass tomorrow. And then theoretically, we have to schedule my last vocal session. But the album should be released between January and March, depending on how the mixes go. And then at that point, we're going to try to start booking some stuff. I'm in communication right now with Flake Coffee over in Dover, I believe, or maybe their Portsmouth or Bedford branch, to get booked on some of their shows in the coming days. I play at Cafe Lorraine from time to time, right down the street. And play a couple house shows and dorm shows for people here and there. Once the album's out, then I'm going to try to put more of my effort away from recording and into playing out more. But hoping to get more on the scene. So updates will follow.
Cool.
Hopefully, yeah.
And then when you play out, is it always you acoustic, or do you have
So I play with a couple people. Essentially, I was in a band before this, and we were playing mostly covers and a couple of originals. And when I started to go to recording stuff, I had a really a good friend of mine, and also my boss. So I guess he's my boss first, and maybe a friend second. His name's Joe DeLoe. I work for him over at the Dana Center at St. Austin College. I do lighting and sound for him.
Yeah.
He said, "Listen, you should really, if you're going to do this, do it under your own name. Keep all the rights to your stuff, and make it a project you can take with you, and not be dependent on other people." So when I perform out, I title it as my solo project, quote unquote. But that's just in the sense that I have my own, my own name to it, and I write the music for it. And then whatever musicians I kind of have around me that I've been jamming with or vibing with, I'll bring on board with it as well. So
yeah.
I have a couple close friends that we've been playing together for a while now that I'll bring with me. So I do have, quote unquote, a full band with me. But when we perform out, I don't really try to label it as this is my band. I try to have more of it, this is the band. We are all in it together.
Yeah.
I don't personally don't like the idea of myself being in the spotlight and everybody else just being the chums I brought along.
Right.
Because most of them are much more talented than I am. Yeah. So that's kind of how we do it. And a lot of those, one of my roommates and I have another project going, which is a bit more of like a refined acoustic-y approach that we're taking right now, and we're going to try to get in studio with some of those songs as well. So yeah, a lot of good stuff happening.
Cool. Outstanding. All right. And in a couple minutes when we wrap up, I'm going to play the other project because I really like that track.
Yeah, thank you.
Remind us again the name of what is it? Farewell Reality?
Yeah, the band is called Farewell Reality.
Yeah. And that's the guys from Pennsylvania.
Correct.
That
yes. And my friend Vincent Byrne ended up going to school for audio engineering. Is currently living in the Pittsburgh area, and is doing audio work and doing a really really fantastic job with it. He's actually going to be working on some of the stuff for my upcoming album as well. So you can see his talent showcased with me as well.
He's got a cool name too, Vincent Byrne.
Extremely
that
regal.
All right. And Michael Martineau, you have anything you want to plug?
Nope. Just enjoying life.
And do you have any further apologies? I don't know if you guys heard, but Michael Martineau has said these terrible things about the people of the Lone Star State.
I heard, yeah.
Calling them rednecks who walk around in stepping in cow patties all day and saying things like, "Howdy, y'all." Yeah, do you want?
No. I apologize, and I will try my best not to say that ever again.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you.
Thank
we all
goodness.
feel better. Well, we're syndicated now. We're carried on KCOW, KCOW in Houston. Oh, I'm sorry, no, Dallas Fort Worth, where Michael's meme lives. So we're on a loop. This is the only show they carry.
Nice.
They carry this live, and then they just loop it all day. And so Michael's meme, who lives there, hears him saying all these horrible, offensive things.
Multiple times a day. Wow.
Yes.
That's
just
tough.
all day long. It's just this show over and over on KCOW. All right. And the Weekly Dion is coming up next. And these guys are going to be talking with Nick Ferraro, who is a wonderful musician from the area. So stick around for that. That is coming up here on 6 p.m. And are you going to let your dad ask any questions? Or how does that work when you have a musician in?
I don't know. Actually, I don't think you were here. I know you were here the last musical act we had. Did you sit on the couch? No?
And I think, as I recall, I was a good boy.
I doubt that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I hope he'll be able to talk. He's got a segment. We'll let him do a segment.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You have to let him.
I have a segment.
Yes.
The only reason he's here.
Bitty, tiny, weeny little segment.
And the more you talk, the smaller it gets.
Right. Oh, my goodness. Well,
He is so evil.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you raised him.
Yes, I did.
You got to. There is that.
Yes, I did.
There
Kind of
is
your
that.
fault.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get to play.
Kind of is. All right. So stick around for that. The Weekly Dion coming up next. And Cole, thank you so much. And you're welcome here anytime, my friend.
Thank you so much. This has been a joy. Loved it.
You fit in great. You can come on anytime you want, hang out. And hello to Mike Palapita in the Facebook live chat. And Jenny says Matt is evil. I think she's referring to my thing about Michael and Texas. I just care very deeply about Texas, as I'm sure Michael does too, deep down.
Yes, I do.
Yes. Thank you for saying that. All right, so we're going to leave you with this. Again, this is from Cole's project from Pennsylvania called Farewell Reality. And this track is Come Up for Air. And if you miss any part of today's show, it'll be up in just a little bit at WMNHradio.org. But here it is, Come Up for Air by Farewell Reality to conclude today's edition of Matt Connarton Unleashed. Bye, everybody.
missing out on your fashion show. One more sip and I'm out the door. One more sip and I'm on the floor. I rode in late, I think I hate this car. I should get rich and buy a first place trophy. I'm the best damn husband in the USA, but only for today. I'm trapped in the past and your mind's in the future. I'm trapped in the past and your mind's in the future. I'm trapped in the past and your mind's in the future. I'm trapped in the past and your mind's in the future. Next to your empty dress and television static beats my brain. You're one room away drinking champagne. Nice of you to invite me. I made a list of what I lost and you were next in line. I scribbled out your name, I turned into a sickening man. I'm trapped in the past and your mind's in the future. I'm trapped in the past